G League roster and say, here's my information. He practiced yesterday with the Detroit team he's currently on, or the Michigan-based team.
That doesn't make any sense.
And now
like, which team are you on?
Yeah, see, here's what I think. Okay, I've sort of I'm morphing my position here. How about this? We all have one designated player, and he floats back and forth between the G League and major college basketball. That way he can really work on his game. So we get
his two-way contract is now a three-way contract.
Three-way contract.
He's got the NBA,
That's right.
the G League, and the college team.
Yeah, some of the people listening understand what we're talking about here. We have three-way deals now, Bino. See? Not two ways, three ways, Bino. Kind of like if you go up there and you get your chili with your spaghetti. What is the three-way, Bry, up there in Cincinnati when you eat your chili with Ewad? What's a three-way?
I think it's cheese.
Yeah.
Spaghetti, sauce, or cheese, the chili sauce, and noodles, I think is three-way.
Yeah. And that really reminds me of Derek Owings, one of his buckets, if I think about doing that. But we have three-way players now, Mark and Dallas. You're right.
Now, I've thought, since you first brought it up or suggested a while back,
right.
I've thought, and this would disqualify Bediako,
right.
Unless they're going to give him some kind of medical red shirt for the professional season where it was cut short by injury.
Yep.
I've thought that each year of professional athletics, like subsequent to your high school year, it gets a little goofier over in Europe because, I think they could be in high school and playing on pro teams because they just kind of do sports differently than we do. But I think each year in pro sports, subsequent to high school, should burn a year of eligibility. Like if you were a one-and-done basketball player, and then you were in the G League for 2 years, I would have no problem with you coming back for 1 year.
Such a nuanced, normal stance. Hang right there. I think that's something I want to bounce off Bino and Bry, and we do have some school closings coming up. It's unbelievable, Andy. It's all ahead. We're going to do a segment unlike any other, depending on how long it goes, is how many likes we get over at YouTube. I'm kind of asking for some cooperation here. But in the meantime, the Playbook with the great William Patterson's on the way next. I want to remind you, after tomorrow night's Alabama game, we'll be in here logging some late night. Hopefully it's not midnight sadness, but midnight madness. And we're celebrating a Tennessee victory over Betty Croco and those cheaters from Alabama, doing what comes naturally. They come out of the birth canal cheating there. We love you. Here's William Patterson. Are you currently a residential? Whoa, that's button.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
And here we go, live from the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios. It's the Playbook with Brett Hollander, Garrett Armbrust, Alex Sarkis, and Will Palumbo. I'm William Patterson. We appreciate you listening along with us on this fine Friday from Knoxville, Tennessee. And boy, do we have plenty to cover to wrap up the week as we talk Tennessee and Alabama, a big-time matchup tomorrow night inside Coleman Coliseum. Some very interesting storylines have been thrown into this as well over the course of the week, as Tennessee will be matching up against a player that has spent a lot of time in the NBA G League and has put on NBA uniforms for Media Day. And if you're watching on the YouTube stream, I had a very selective picture to put for Charles Bediako. So we'll talk about that, our keys to the game, what to expect for tomorrow's action. And then we'll also pivot to the gridiron for Tennessee, as Jim Knowles did an interview yesterday with Mike Keith on the Mike Keith Show. We'll tell you what Knowles had to say about this group and about the coaching staff he is bringing over and the new transfer portal additions that Tennessee has added in. So we'll tell you all about that. And then in hour number 2, we have some changes to the college football playoff in 2026/2027 season that is upcoming, but none of them have any new teams added to the mix in terms of the format, the field. We'll tell you the new additions and the tweaks that have been made, and if we see the playoff expanding to 16 or 24 teams in the future, though it might not be happening this upcoming year. And then we'll get you ready for the NFL Championship weekend. The NFC features the Rams and Seahawks. The AFC features the Patriots and Broncos. We'll get you ready for that action, and we'll wrap it up with our final thoughts. So plenty to cover on a Friday. So happy you're here. Announcements real quick. Join us at Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria tomorrow night in the Old City for the official Fan Run Radio watch party as Tennessee takes on Alabama. Should be a great time as always. Barley's does a great job hosting us, and a good spot to watch a game. I'll say that. Plenty of cold beverages, some good food. Come out, tip off tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I encourage you to arrive a little bit earlier than that so you can claim your spot. But should be a good time. Come watch with the Fan Run crew tomorrow at Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria. Before we get into the action, however, let's welcome in the rest of the crew, beginning with Brett. Brett, how are you on this Friday?
Wasn't expecting to come to me first, but I appreciate that. No, I'm good. Watched the Lady Vols get a nice win last night. Ranked win. Ugly at times, but still got to support the ladies. They're off to a great start in SEC play. I did also try and go to – we talked about Chick-fil-A yesterday.
Correct.
And I tried to go get one of those frosted sodas.
Yes.
I've seen those, yeah.
And, of course, the ice cream machine's down.
Oh, no. They pulled a McDonald's on you.
That's below their standards.
I was just going for the drink, so then I felt bad because you can't get out of line.
Yeah.
I'm in the drive-thru, so I ended up getting a spicy chicken sandwich.
Okay.
So I didn't go home empty-handed, but I was pretty disappointed.
So
I was looking forward to it.
You wanted some sweet, and then you went with spicy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good
it's
deal.
my go-to thing, the spicy chicken sandwich at
Okay.
Chick-fil-A. So I was hungry enough. So
There you go.
But I was a little disappointed. How's an ice cream machine down?
That is a rare occurrence from the My Pleasure people.
Yeah. I was very disappointed.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, they're open.
Maybe I didn't need it, though, either.
They're open
A frosted
today. They're
soda.
open tomorrow. Maybe after, I don't know what you're doing
Maybe
tomorrow, but
it could be just a popular thing that it just got overworked.
Everyone-
like everybody gets overworked.
everyone's having the ice cream floats.
Yes, exactly. But I was disappointed. But other than that, I'm doing good, buddy.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Hopefully, they will get the cogs working so you can
They
get
should. They should.
that ice cream float.
Yeah.
To my left, it's Garrett Armbrust. Garrett, how are you?
Doing good. Just trying to figure out what this forecast is going to be this weekend. A lot of people saying there's going to be nothing. A lot of people saying there's going to be something. So either way, there's going to be a lot of sports on to watch this weekend. Brad, did you watch the Lakers game at all last night?
I watched. Yes, I did.
Pretty good game.
Yeah, not for the Lakers, but
Well,
it was
know.
tough. But
they came
I
back.
always watch the King. I got to watch Go.
You got to
Jays.
watch him.
Yes.
Yeah. Luka had a shot to possibly get the game right back in it, wide
I
open
know,
shot, and
I
then he just
know.
didn't take it.
No, I didn't understand that.
But-
didn't understand it at all.
Anyways, watched that last night. Obviously, Tennessee game tomorrow night. Conference championships this weekend. Got my Sunday golf back. PGA Tour's back. Love to watch that on Sunday afternoons on the other television. So always an exciting time around this time of year.
There you go.
Scheffler's already leading the first tournament he's playing
Really?
in. Yeah.
63 yesterday.
Yeah,
Goodness
he's already
gracious.
and he's already 300 through 5 today.
He's a good player.
It's ridiculous.
I'll say that.
Ridiculous.
Alex, how are you?
I'm okay, William. Unfortunately, we had to call off our trip to Tuscaloosa this weekend because of the weather, but it's all right. Can still cover the game from my apartment. Bouncing off what Garrett said, I just love this time of year for sports. We've got the Olympics coming up here in a few weeks. I mean, this is
Right.
just a beautiful time to be a sports fan. Having the golf back, you hear that Masters music come over the TV. Oh, these the
March Madness.
Yeah, March Madness is coming up. I mean, I love this. Spring training is going to be starting up here soon.
It's true, yeah.
It is a beautiful spring semester for sports, in my opinion. I love this. The vibes are here.
I will say I'd say I like sports a little bit more in late February to March as the temperature starts to change a little bit. The sun starts to
Yeah.
shine a little bit brighter.
Yeah.
The tournament this will be the first year like I'm going to be working during the tournament. Like usually I just would not go to class, or in high school I just pull up all the games on my computer and sit through class. Like now I'm going to like we're going to be on the air for the tip off on Thursday, but it is a good time of year. I will say a piece of my heart right now is missing because college football is over. But we still have there was the what was the game last night? Kitzelman played in it. Star Thomas played in
I
it.
didn't see that.
One of the Senior Bowls.
You
Yeah,
got a
it
lot
was
of these
one of the-
Senior Bowls.
Was that on TV?
It was on the NFL Network.
NFL Network.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, I
So you
didn't
got
know
that, the Shrine Bowl, East-West Bowl.
The Hula Bowl. Was that one? HULA.
There are a lot of bowls left.
The Polynesian Bowl.
What do they have? The Reese's? Is that the high school's Reese's?
That's the senior.
That's the
Reese's
Senior
Senior Bowl.
The Reese's Senior Bowl.
That's
okay.
the biggest one.
That's in Mobile.
Yeah, and that's a week's full of content.
So
too,
that's not
'cause-
high school. I'm thinking that's
No,
college
no.
seniors
Yeah.
and stuff. Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
Senior Bowl.
I thought I had that wrong. for
I
a
love the
second.
coverage of the Senior Bowl. How they go in,
Yeah.
they show
They're
practice, they
getting
show
more-
drills. I love
they
that.
do more and more for
It's
it
awesome.
now.
Honestly, I mean, if you're an NFL Network subscriber, that's like one of your best weeks
It's
for your
great.
subscription.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it's like Gamecast, and you might as well
Yeah.
just have Red Zone. But yeah, good time of year. Will's not on the mic, but Will, thumbs up, thumbs down. How are you? Thumbs up from Will. Shadowing once again today, getting down the ropes of how we do things in the production room. Let's see real quick. We'll check the chat. David Speaks says, William, I think the NCAA will forfeit the game against Bama and threaten them with NCAA tournament ban. That would clearly be something to note as Tennessee and Alabama will clash on Saturday. And Charles Bediako, a former NBA G Leaguer, is expected to play. We'll talk more about that here in a second. And then he also mentions a Miami defensive back transfer that is visiting Tennessee today. Put that out about 30 minutes ago on the Twitter surfaces. A guy that was injured a lot in 2024, 2025. He got an injury history, but he started games in 24. Didn't play much this year as he continued to come back from that injury, but he began his career at Vanderbilt. And we'll talk more about what Jim Knowles had to say in this next segment. But Knowles did kind of hint at a little bit of a weak point of the defense, and that being the defensive back room. So just adding any type of depth, I think, would be good. We appreciate you commenting on the YouTube chat. And, folks, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe. And if we're doing a good job, comment. If we're not, voice your opinion in there as well. We love the interaction. We'll read them off. All right, let's get into our first things first topic, and that is Tennessee traveling to T-Town tomorrow as Tennessee basketball will continue their 2026 conference slate on Saturday when they travel to Tuscaloosa, Alabama to take on number 17 Alabama inside Coleman Coliseum. Tip-off scheduled for 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN, and we'll see you at Barley's for the watch party. But Tennessee comes into Saturday's matchup after being off during the midweek, but did fall to Kentucky in their last outing last Saturday at home, in which they led by 17 at one point, but then lost the game in the second half. For the Tide, their last win came on Saturday as well in a road win at Oklahoma. And they were also off during the midweek, and that allowed them to add a former NBA G Leaguer and Charles Bediako to their roster, and we'll talk more about that here in a minute. But as we always do, our Ken Pom breakdown. Tennessee, number 23 overall, 41st in adjusted offense, 24th in adjusted defense. Alabama, 18 overall, number 2 in adjusted offense, 65 in adjusted defense. Keys to the game, let's get into it. I know a lot of people are kind of down on this Tennessee group at the moment, but I do like this spot for Rick Barnes and company because we have seen this movie multiple times. Alabama has always had a really solid offense under Nate Oates, but the defense has always been a little bit of their Achilles heel. And honestly, the way I look at this Alabama team is kind of a reskin of what we've seen in years past. And Rick Barnes has gone into Coleman Coliseum multiple times and come out with a win up against a very similar Alabama team. The way they do that with suffocating defense. I think that's the main point of emphasis here in this matchup. Tennessee's defense has to force Alabama into tough shots, force them into turnovers, and limit the amount of second chance points. I think if this is one of the stronger defensive efforts of the season, like we saw against Houston, this is an opportunity for Tennessee to snag a signature win on the road. So I look at a big point of emphasis here is Tennessee's defensive effort, limiting the amount of opportunities, forcing turnovers, turning those turnovers into points, and winning the advantage on the glass. Big key for Tennessee defensively. The second thing, well, you got to put up points, and Jacoby Gillespie is going to have to be special once again. But the real thing I'm looking for here is to firm up your rotations and firm up your lineups. We've seen an increase in Nate Amett's production over the last 3 outings. A lot of that is because you're now allowing him to have more space in these new kind of small ball lineups to where you've got an Okpara or an Estrella or a Carey running the 5, and Amett's at the 4, but he's not necessarily on the block. And that allows you to kind of play a 4-out, 1-in offense, and then you have the ability for Ament to take it off the dribble, coming off the perimeter, get to a spot, or take it to the basket. That room, that space down low with not having 2 bigs allows for your 6'10 freshman to be able to drive inside and either draw a foul or get an easy look. So I look at for the rotations and the lineups specifically angled towards Nate Ament to find some comfortability in this one. Not a great Alabama defense. That's how they've been in years past. So if you're able to get the type of defensive production necessary, like you've had in games past against Nate Oates under Rick Barnes, you've got to get some of that offensive production rolling. I like these smaller lineups, and I think Ament could have some opportunities to have a big day. Finally here, you've got to control the controllables, and that is where Tennessee has struggled in late game moments and to start the game. Turnovers and missed assignments defensively, not rebounding and bringing it down and starting a new possession. A lot of the Kentucky miscues occurred in that second half. It was a very strong first half effort, but then in the second half, you got outboarded by Kentucky on the offensive glass. You allowed a ton of second chance points. You turned the ball over in crucial moments. Tennessee cannot do that on the road against a team in Alabama where if you give them a lot of opportunities to score, they're going to run up that scoreboard. So those are my 3 keys. A big defensive effort is needed for Tennessee. You're going to have to firm up these lineups and rotations. Need a big game from Jacoby Gillespie, but I'd like to see a continued increase of Nate Ament's production by using that small ball lineup. And finally, control the controllables. We say it in Tennessee football, but you've got to limit turnovers. You've got to attack the glass and make sure you're coming down with the ball and not allowing for tip outs and second chance opportunities for the Tide. Those are my 3 keys for Saturday's matchup. Garrett, what are you watching for on Saturday?
Yeah, pretty much everything you said. Obviously, you're going to have Gillespie play well. I think him and Ament are both going to have to play, combined one of their better games of the season if you're going to want to win this game. Obviously, I think the best game that they've both played together was the Rutgers game. Obviously, the win against Houston was your best win of the season, but the Rutgers game offensively between those two I thought was the best showing that you'd seen. So I think you're going to need something like this. Like you said, Alabama scores a lot of points. They scored 103 against St. John's. They scored 80 against Purdue, 90 against Illinois, 85 against Gonzaga. You're probably going to have to score somewhere in that 85 to 90 point range, I would assume, to win this game. To be able to get that, you're going to have a third shooter. You haven't really had a guy that's been able to come off the bench and knock down threes this year. You've had moments where Amari Abrams been able to do it. You've had moments where Troy Henderson's been able to do it. I would really like to see Troy Henderson come off the bench a lot more this game. That goes back to kind of what you've said about rotations, but he's a guy that comes in, he plays hard, he's able to knock down some shots, and I would like to see him get some more minutes in this game. I think that's another valuable piece when you need to score a lot of points.
Brett, what about you? What are you watching for in Saturday's matchup?
It's going to come down to the guards. I worry about Gillespie in this game trying to deal with either Holloway or Philon and trying to put together a good offensive performance because he's the key on both ends for us. He's our most consistent offensive player, and if he's not going, we're really not going to win in games. And if the game's going to be in the 80s or whatever as we expect, I think that makes it hard for us to win. So I think the key is on the defensive end. I think we got to limit their opportunities, and hopefully they're having an off shooting night for us to really stay in this ball game. So even without this Bediako, they're still a really good rebounding team. Both of us are top 10 in the country in rebounding. So these games are always a battle, and it's going to be a battle on Saturday, but I think it's ultimately going to come down to these guards, and if you can kind of control Philon and Holloway, and I think it's just going to be kind of difficult to do that, especially when Gillespie's needed so much on the offensive end. How much does he expend himself on the defensive end? Because he's going to have to guard one of the 2 guys. him and Boswell. So that's going to make it tough. So, I just and Amit's going to have to play big. I think he's going to have to help Gillespie shoulder the load, and I just don't know if that kid's ready for it yet.
Alex, I know you said you're not traveling anymore, but how can Tennessee have a nice ride home on Saturday with a win? What do they need to do to get that done?
Well, I think if you play this game in the 80s and 90s, I think Tennessee's going to be in big trouble,
Yeah.
like we've harped on. And the big thing is you got to avoid those pick sixes like they had against Kentucky, those turnovers that immediately turn into points for the opposition. That's something that Rick Barnes talked about. It was the last thing he said in practice before the Kentucky game, which was ironic because you saw how that one ended. So Jacoby Gillespie, that's the key for me. You can't turn the ball over 4 times. You got to distribute the basketball in a way that is going to be safe, but also give your guys open shots, lead to points. Nate's got to continue to be aggressive. I think he's been doing a lot better job of that. He's getting to the line. He's making his free throws, which is something that he struggled with a little bit earlier in this year. And that third shooter is huge. Maybe it's Troy Henderson. Maybe it's Amari Abram. I also would like to see Troy Henderson get some more run because I think he's a guy that if he gets going can be one of your third options there. And then defense. I think they're going to have to give one of their best defensive efforts of the season.
Yeah.
Tennessee's going to have a lot of things go like the best that they've had all year to win this game. You got to win the offensive glass because we saw how that second half went against Kentucky. You give up 19 points. It's got to be a clean game. It's going to have to be one of Tennessee's best of the year.
Well, one of the most interesting storylines heading into Saturday's matchup is not necessarily focused on the two teams as a unit, but instead one player, as former Alabama center Charles Bediako has been granted a temporary restraining order and is immediately eligible to participate for Alabama basketball. Bediako is a professional player for the Motor City Cruise of the NBA G League and last played for Alabama in 2023. The former pro will be immediately eligible to play against the Volunteers on Saturday. However, this is a 10-day restraining order, folks, and the next hearing is scheduled for January 27th. That's in 4 days. So hypothetically here, and I know I don't do hypotheticals, but hypothetically, this could be the only game Bediako plays this season, and it would be up against Tennessee. And Alabama expects to play Bediako, quote, if things go smoothly over the next couple of days. And that's from Alabama.com's Nick Kelly. But this is obviously a story that is dominating headlines in college basketball. We even saw Todd Golden and other coaches get involved in the action, weighing in on this. Todd Golden was a little bit fiery about it, said it doesn't matter if they have him, we'll beat him, regardless of him playing. But a lot of noise, right? How can the Vols block out an immediate distraction in this game when he checks in? Because that's going to be, something all the players have their minds on. Everyone watching has their minds on. How can Tennessee limit those distractions? And from talking to people inside the building this week, this has been one of the most intense practice weeks of the season. And Rick Barnes has been kind of ripping in these guys. A tough loss on Saturday. They got straight to work on Monday and have been very attentive to film and also trying to correct things in practice. And the last time this occurred, I got word of a really intense practice session. It was last year, right before Tennessee went up against Florida in Knoxville. And, that ended up being one of the best, most impressive wins of the season. And Tennessee was down a ton of guys in that game. And I'm not necessarily projecting that's now going to happen on Saturday, but I do think Tennessee having a week off, knowing that Rick Barnes is one of the best coaches in college basketball in terms of X's and O's and preparing his defense up against an offense like this, I think Tennessee should just be focused on getting better and limiting the turnovers and correcting the mistakes that they have made in the last couple of weeks. Because right now, this has not been a good basketball team in SEC play. A losing record, blowing games at home. This is not the standard that Rick Barnes has set at Tennessee. And despite all of these headlines going around about Bediako, I think Tennessee has their own storylines within the team that are more important. So I don't really think in terms of the players being distracted here with all of this chaos going on, I don't think it's going to be a factor. But I do think it's something Tennessee has to be attentive to in their game planning, and I'm sure Rick Barnes has done that this week. Garrett, how do you believe the Vols will block out this noise, or is this even going to be something that occurs for this Tennessee team?
Yeah, you have to block it out. Obviously, coming off the loss to Kentucky, Barnes is going to run them at practice this week. They're going to go out there. A lot of turnovers at the end of last week, so they're going to be doing that balloon pop drill they do during practice, I would assume, a lot this week going into this game. But at the end of the day, as good as this Bediako kid is, I mean, you have to know there's a lot of teams that you play that have future guys that are going to play professional basketball on it. It's not like you're playing some guy that's significantly better than everybody else. He's obviously going to be one of the better players on the court, but Nate Ament's going to have an NBA career. Jacoby Gillespie's more than likely going to have an NBA career or at least play in the G League. Like, you have guys on your team that are going to be able to play at that level too. So you just have to know you can go out there, you can compete with him. It's not like he's some NBA all-star coming down to play college basketball. He's a very good player, but you play against these guys on good teams every week.
Brett, what about you? I know you don't think Bediako is going to have that big of an outing, but just the storyline, the distraction heading into it, is that something that's going to affect Tennessee?
No, I don't think so. Not so much. I think there's a bigger fish on that team that Barnes is worried about over Bediako. I mean, we've done pretty well, handled our own as far as the bigs are concerned. That's supposed to be the strength of our team. I think if anything, maybe this fires our guys up, and it's a motivating factor because, I mean, let's face it, Akpar's played down a little bit his standards. Carey struggled. Estrella, I don't even know what he's doing, but a lot of these guys have played against Edey and some way better bigs than this, and this guy shouldn't even be this guy's an afterthought, and it should be an afterthought for this team. And if you're worried about this guy, then you got big issues. And I like the approach that the Florida coach had. I hope Barnes says that in the locker room, and that's the mindset these guys got to have too. So I think they should. I think it's going to motivate the team. So whether it's a distraction or not, I like this for a motivating thing for the team.
The NCAA released a statement regarding Bediako, saying that he has, quote, signed 3 NBA contracts after competing in college for 2 seasons, and the NCAA has not and will not grant eligibility to any prospective or returning student athletes who have signed an NBA contract. And during his 70 games and 67 starts in Tuscaloosa, Bediako averaged 6.6 points, 5.2 rebounds, and 1.7 blocks in 19.3 minutes per game. He was a member of the All-SEC freshman team during his first year and the conference's All-Defensive team during his second year. But Tennessee allowed a 13-8 advantage on the offensive glass in the second half against Kentucky, and that resulted in a 19-7 advantage in points off of those second chance points and rebounds. And Bediako being a bigger guy, that's going to be a point of emphasis for the Vols to improve on. Alex, how can the Vols get back to their winning ways on the glass?
I think Felix Akpara's got to play better. I mean, they've been calling for it. Rick Barnes called for it after the game. He's a guy that really should get you 10 rebounds a game, and he'll stumble into 10 points that way. I think he can be a guy where he doesn't have that scoring touch, but with the kind of defense that he plays, and he should be able to get boards. And I simply, I can't explain why he's not been. I think Jalen Carey's been pretty solid, and he had 6 against Kentucky, 6 offensive rebounds against Kentucky. So he's a guy that is going to play physical, but can he find the basket? So you got to just rely on those bigs. You've talked about the depth in that room so far. This is a game where you're going to need all those guys because it's going to be physical. You know that. And if Tennessee wants to win this game according to its style, its defensive style, if you want to keep that score low, you're going to need to win the glass. And I think Felix, you need him tomorrow night. So that's really the big thing I'm looking at.
Yeah, Akpara, obviously a key matchup to watch for up against Bediako. You mentioned Jalen Carey. Jalen Carey has struggled through SEC play so far, right around the cup, missing a ton of give-me's. The guy's shooting below 50% from 2 feet, and that's an issue. 2 feet away from the basket, that is. So I like that he's getting rebounds, but it's almost like you're getting a rebound and just throwing it back up, and it's ricocheting into an opposing team's hands. So he's got to do a better job of going up strong and finishing. Clearly an issue for him. I think J.P. Estrella's got the best touch out of any of the bigs. Problem is with him, he's kind of a liability defensively, and even sometimes around the cup, he comes in a little out of control. So I think all the bigs, you like the depth, but they also kind of have their weak points and clear inconsistencies, and that stuff has got to be corrected as you try to continue to form out your rotation. And again, I think that's a big thing for Tennessee moving forward. And I mentioned that tough start for Carey in SEC play. Well, it's been the same for the team. As since the start of SEC play, Tennessee is 35th overall, 59th in adjusted offense, and 40th in adjusted defense, according to Bartorvik. And 40th in adjusted defense is a far cry from what we're used to seeing with the Tennessee defensive team. And in terms of what has to be improved, I think it's the rotations, but it's also, boxing out and, just doing the little things on the glass to prevent, second chance opportunities. The issue here is that the best unit offensively for Tennessee is also one of your best or one of your worst defensive units. So it's kind of one of those things. Would you rather have the offensive production, but then allow a lot of points on the defensive end? Might not be great in a matchup like this, as Alabama has a little bit more firepower on that side. Or do you just try to kind of stick with the defensive identity and hope that you're able to create enough spacing down low for, dribble drives and attacks and open looks? I think early on in this game, you'll learn what type of night it's going to be for Alabama, because sometimes these guys can come out and shoot the jeans off the ball. You're going to have to see, are they doing that tonight? Do we need to counter with our own offense? Can we roll with our defense? Can we get a type of performance that you saw against a Houston? I think you're going to learn about that early on in this one. But I think the big thing for Tennessee is continuing to firm up that lineup. I swear, if I see Ethan Berg on that court tomorrow night, Barley's is going to lose power. The game's going off because that guy does not deserve to play.
Do you think Barnes needs to stop this 2-foul thing tomorrow?
Well, I mean, if that means you throw in an Ethan Berg, then yeah. Because Ethan Berg, I think, is every team's best player when Tennessee plays someone. Because
I definitely agree with that. There's got to be a better option to come off the bench.
I like Troy Henderson. There were 3 guys I heard about this offseason. Nate Ament, Jacoby Gillespie, and Troy Henderson. Troy Henderson's a dog. He comes in, is willing to shoot, is willing to take the moment. Berg, is a tire fire. It just doesn't end. It checks in, and it's a turnover, checks in, and it's a missed shot, missed assignment.
There's no way.
I was surprised he played on Saturday.
Played against Kentucky, and he didn't play a minute against A&M.
Yeah, I was fine with that. I went to both games, and I have a little Ethan Berg watch I do. I look and see if he's checking in at any point, and he was wearing the striped pajamas throughout the Texas A&M game, and against Kentucky, he rips them off and starts walking to the desk. I'm like, what are we doing?
I am worried about fouls.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. Trying to guard Phylon and
it's
just those two guards are pros. That's what they are. And
Amari Evans has been scrappy too.
I like
when
Evans.
He comes in. I think that's another good option.
Yeah, I like Evans too. Real quick before the break, let's call our shot. Will the Vols get it done tomorrow? I say yes. I think Tennessee gets it done. I look at the track record of Rick Barnes going up against Nate Oates. I think this is going to be a strong defensive performance, a very intense week of practice, a lot of attention to detail. You have a full week off. Rick Barnes has excelled in these spots in years past, and I know this is a different team and not the same firepower as having a Dalton Connect or a Chaz Lanier or a veteran nucleus around you with Meshack and Ziegler. But it's these spots where I think Rick Barnes thrives, and I'm going to continue to bank on it because Tennessee needs a big-time win, and this will be a big-time spot for it. I go Tennessee narrowly over Alabama. Garrett, your prediction.
As much as I want to say yes, I just don't. I don't think it's possible to win this game on the road. I'll watch every second of it. I'll root for them, but I just feel like you're going up against too high power of an offense. Outside of the Houston game this year, I haven't really seen anything to show me that this is a game that you could win. So until I see otherwise, I'm gonna have to say no.
Brett, wonder what you go with here.
Oh, yeah, we're not winning down there. No chance. I just don't think we have the guys that have that dog in them to go win a game like this. You can count on that with Meshack and Zakai and some of those guys, but these guys haven't proven it. I worry about foul trouble, and I just think the moment's going to be too big. And I just feel like it's going to be one of those nights where Alabama shoots lights out, and it could be another, Florida game that when we went down to the swamp this year.
No chance, says Brett.
No chance.
Well, I guess call off the buses.
I would.
Alex, your prediction.
Well, I don't think you could have picked a better week for Tennessee to have off, but Alabama also had off all week.
That is true.
And I just, I definitely think that Tennessee was working hard in practice this week. I mean, it's
And they got a
loss.
pro. How can we beat that? They got a pro. We can't beat against that.
I don't
That's what
think
everybody's telling me.
I don't think Tennessee gets it done. I think the same old issues that we've talked about game in and game out this year are going to continue. Even if it was stressed all week, I don't think they have meshed to a point where it's going to stop. So I think Alabama's going to have a nice night shooting the basketball too. We saw Kentucky shoot the ball really well. I think Alabama's going to do the same, and Tennessee's going to have to chase the game.
Okay. If we had a college game day-esque graphic, it'd have 3
one
Alabamas,
of those.
1
That'd be
Tennessee.
That's good for us, though.
All right, so Will, are you thumbs up for Bama, thumbs down for Tennessee? Okay, so we've got 2 now, 2 Tennessee predictions. We'll see what happens. Tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. Join us at Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria for the official Fan Run Radio watch party.
Is that ice or shine? I don't know what to call it.
Ice shine, whatever, yeah.
You guys get some ice skates on.
I got
if
cold
you get-
drinks there. I mean,
I'll probably just leave them outside.
Yeah,
Grab
might
one
as
as you
well.
walk in.
Might as well. We'll see you there, Brett.
I live way too far to get down there tomorrow.
You're never too far away for a Fan Run watch
Got to be
party.
for the brand, Brett. Come on.
Ugh.
When we come
Start
back,
walking now.
When we come back, we'll pivot over to the Gridiron. Tennessee new defensive coordinator Jim Knowles provided some insight into what to expect this upcoming season. We'll break it down. We return right here on the Playbook on Fan Run Radio.
Take Fan Run Radio with you on the all-new Fan Run app. Just search for Fan Run Radio wherever you download your apps.
Okay, so we really need uniforms and equipment for this season. Can I trust you with that? Cool, I'll just order them online. What? Yeah, I'm gonna hop online and I'm gonna get them ordered. Hold up, that's not a good idea. We shouldn't just spend money on some random online retailer, okay? I mean, it seems pretty convenient. Trust me, it's a terrible idea. Let me simplify this for you. SM Athletics. Okay, how do you pronounce it? SM Athletics? They're the go-to for uniforms and equipment, whether it's for universities, high schools, youth leagues, you name it. So why wouldn't you rather go with professionals who can guide us through the process, design the perfect uniforms, and deliver the best equipment? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. What's the name again? SM Athletics. Right. It's definitely smarter to go with a company that emphasizes customer service, fair pricing, and, of course, excellent products. Exactly. So, yeah, I guess it's settled then. For uniforms and equipment for all sports, it's SM Athletics.
Blackford Veterinary Surgery Referral specializes in surgeries not regularly performed by your pet's general veterinarian. They're currently accepting referrals from vets all across the country. With their newly renovated state-of-the-art surgery center and highly trained staff, clients can rely on professional and thorough care. If your vet says that your pet needs surgery or rehab, ask for a referral to Blackford Vet and let them get your best friend back on its feet. Located conveniently in West Knoxville. For more information, visit blackfordvetsurgery.com.
All right, back here on the Playbook presented by VIP Play. We appreciate you hanging out with us on this Friday. Jordan Hicks says, y'all are so negative. Let's hope the guys don't listen to y'all. Well, I was positive, Jordan.
Maybe if they play better, Jordan, we could be more positive.
Brad, let's be positive. Jordan's seeking positivity.
He's coming at us.
Well, he's coming at you, not me. I was positive. I was positive. We appreciate you guys in the chat. David Speaks says, I'd go Gillespie, Boswell, Evans, Carey, Brown, have Estrella, Akpara, Henderson, Ament off the bench. Oh, sending the 5-star to the cushion.
That won't be happening.
Oh man.
I don't think Ament will ever get benched this season.
I mean, he's always going to start. I don't know.
Yeah.
He may end up benched if he's not playing well.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
I think he'll start every game.
Barnes likes him. I mean, you just watch him. Like he's got to be one of Barnes' favorite players he's had in the last few rotations of teams.
I would agree.
Yeah. Whether he's not playing up to expectations or not, you got to play the guy. I mean, you invested a ton in him, so might as well play him. And he's not horrible. He's just like, there are just moments with him. There's moments you wish. Anyway. All right, we'll switch over to the Gridiron, and we'll get in the Knowles on new defensive coordinator Jim Knowles for Tennessee football. And when Jim Knowles was hired in December to replace former defensive coordinator Tim Banks as the Tennessee Vols defensive coordinator, it didn't take long for one concern about the new defense to emerge. And Knowles, who was previously defensive coordinator at Penn State and Ohio State, runs a defense that has a reputation of might being a little bit hard to learn and put into fruition in year one. But Jim Knowles joined Mike Keith on the Mike Keith Show yesterday for his first public appearance since joining Josh Heupel's staff. And Keith specifically asked Knowles about the idea that his defense is hard to pick up. And here's what Knowles had to say. Quote, "I've heard that. Not that I read those things, but people tell me that. So I think we'll go back and we're working on that now. Every new opportunity that you have to install it, you've got to find better ways. So I think part of being a great coach is being adjustable and adaptable and listening. A lot of guys get stuck in their own ways. So if that's what some players may have said, I have to take that into account." He went on to say, quote, "And we're looking at ways to simplify things early on so we can make more progress quickly. Now, one of the things is having coaches who have been with me, which I haven't had in the past. So that also takes time. And having some players that have been with me too. So I think we'll be way ahead on both of those counts." And I agree with both of those statements. And if you haven't watched it yet, I do encourage all to watch the interview with Mike Keith. A couple of great questions and get to learn a little bit more about Knowles. He said that when he first got to campus, it was one of his best interactions he's ever had in an interview process with Josh Heupel and his family. Said it felt like home. And Knowles went on to say his daughter went to Tennessee as well, so he's always kind of had a Tennessee connection and always wanted to leave that door open. So a little bit of insight as to why he came, but also he dives into the X's and O's. A great interview. But I think that the defense will have a couple of growing pains early on. It's expected to have something like that. But what I think is really big for Tennessee is that you've got a mix of returning leaders and leaders of Knowles' past on this roster right now. Arian Carter comes back, defensive leader for the team in 2025. I know the defense as a whole wasn't great, but Arian Carter was damn good, and that's why he, looked at the NFL draft for a little bit. But he's coming off some turf toe injuries, wants to come back for a full healthy season. I love it. I also love that you added Amari Campbell, the coach-to-player, helmet-to-helmet communication directly with Jim Knowles this past season at Penn State. That's a guy that can help you ease in to a lot of the new X's and O's. So I think that it's always expected to have some growing pains early on, but as this thing gets rolling and you add a lot of new pieces to this defense, everyone's going to be learning together, but it's nice to have some former Penn State players along with them. So I think there will be some growing pains, but I think this might be a lot easier of a transition than we've seen in years past for a Jim Knowles defense. Garrett, what about you? Do you believe that the defense will have some growing pains early on? And is this something that happens early in the season and goes away, or is it kind of just a persistent thing?
I think it's something that's more or less going to happen over the offseason. You're going to hopefully be good to go by week one. Obviously, when he was hired, this was something that people were worried about. They were like, this is a defense, just because it's so complex, it might take a year to instill. And everyone was kind of like, whoa, well, we need this season to be good because this is a year that matters for Heupel. And if your defense is the same as it was last year, you're going to have issues. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think, as you said, you bring in guys that he's been with before, Amari Campbell, Chaz Coleman. Then you go out and you get some other guys like TJ Metcalf from Michigan. And then, as you said, you have guys returning like AC. I think it's really going to matter the step up you see from guys, the younger guys that played this year. Do you see a step up from a guy like Ty Redmond, or do you see some of the same tackling mistakes that you saw in the Alabama game where you're trying to make that dumb tackle on the goal line and gives up a touchdown to a wide receiver that's much bigger than him? You can't be having issues like that. I think the main thing that we saw this year was tackling. That was the main thing, was weren't taking proper angles at wide receivers. You were missing just easy tackles in the secondary. Linebackers were sometimes missing easy tackles. So I think those are the things that you really want to get instilled easily into the easily into the defense before the season starts, because you start fast. I mean, you're going to play a Georgia Tech offense that should be pretty solid this year. They went out and got one of the top running backs in the portal. You play them week 2. You play Texas early in the season. You play LSU pretty early or later in the season. But you play a lot of very good SEC teams early and that are going to have really good offenses that you're going to have a good defense instilled.
Brett, what about you? Growing pains and expectation early on?
Yeah, I mean, and that's tough because you expect some maybe growing pains on the offensive side of the ball. So again, this goes back to our talk about expectations next year, and it depends on where you are, because I think this defense is going to have to be really good if you have playoff aspirations. As Garrett was mentioning, the schedule's tough. I think you're going to play some of the best offenses in the country, not just Texas and LSU. You got to go to A&M. You're going to have to play Lenore Sellers. You're going to have to play Kentucky with Will Stein. I mean, it's going to be a tough schedule defensively, and I think there's definitely going to be some growing pains on this defense. And he did go through and mention, he plays a lot of 4-2-5. So that's something as a fan you don't see very often. So I think it's going to be a bit of a struggle early on, but hopefully we pick it up pretty quick, because I think we're going to have to really support this offense for a lot of the season unless you get an Aguilar back.
Now, some guys that can help ease those growing pains are the assistant coaches that Knowles brought from Penn State, a few of them in that matter. And this is what Knowles had to say. Quote, "Staff alignment is critical. So I was able to bring a few people here and also keep some great coaches, and Coach Rodney Garner and Coach William Inge, and then bring a lot of coaches in who already know what I do. That puts us ahead. I've done this now a couple of times and haven't really had the opportunity. So Coach Heupel wanted me to have that opportunity because it does advance your progress pretty quickly." And, this is a defensive staff that features some guys that came over from Penn State, like a Poindexter, who are, highly renowned in the coaching and assistant world. Jim Knowles is obviously very highly respected in himself, but keep in the key pieces, right? The guys that have done the right job over the last, 5-6 seasons for Tennessee. And that's Rodney Garner on that defensive line. William Inge, a newer addition that's been with Tennessee for a couple of seasons now. But the linebacking group, for the most part, was one of the stronger points of that Tennessee defense last year. And having an Arian Carter, Jaden Perlotti, Edwin Spillman be some of your best defensive players returning, I think speaks volumes to the job that Inge has done. Obviously, there are some changes to the defensive backside, warranted, that is. But for you, Alex, what do you make of this defensive staff along with Knowles, and will that help kind of ease the growing pains early on?
I think it will, and I love the secondary coaches. Michael Hunter Jr., your cornerbacks coach, and then Poindexter, your general secondary coach. And I think Willie Martinez obviously had his hands full last year with the amount of injuries that went on in that secondary, and you've got a young guy in Ty Redmond playing so much, but now you've got Ty Redmond coming back for a potential breakout season. He's going to get, more of the workload taken off of his shoulders. And I think those are two guys that you can look at and say, hey, this secondary's got to be better. And with the way that Knowles utilizes his secondary so heavily, you need good guidance there. And I think these two can really contribute in a big way. And like you said, keeping Rodney Garner and Inge are just ginormous, because those are the guys that have just pumped out NFL talent here and were huge assets in the defense a year ago, carrying Tennessee basically to a college football playoff. So you kept the pieces and you got rid of the ones that you needed to, and that's really what Tennessee absolutely needed after this past season. You needed to clean house, and they got rid of the dirty water and brought in some new things that I think there will be growing pains, but that's part of it, and that's part of kind of rebuilding a defense like they have, and I think they will have success a lot more than they did last year.
The Vols also brought in several Penn State transfers that played under Knowles in 2025, and this is what he had to say about those players. Quote, "It's a big plus because they spent a year learning not only the system, but how I operate and my expectations," said Knowles, going on to say, quote, "and they'll be able to filter it down to the other guys. And I also know I've been hands-on with those guys, so I understand what they can do and where they need to get better." And he's referring to the Penn State four, or the quartet, however you want to phrase it, of Amari Campbell, Chaz Coleman, DeJuan Lane, and Xavier Gilliam, for really nice additions out of the portal. And I think it's really important to get these guys because it's exactly what Knowles is talking about. They can help teach the other guys around them. And you've got them at all different positions, right? Where Amari Campbell is going to work directly with those linebackers. Most likely have that coach-to-player communication once again this season. Xavier Gilliam, an interior defensive lineman. Chaz Coleman, an edge on the end of that defensive line. And then you got a DeJuan Lane at safety who can help out those secondary members. So I think you've got a little bit of everything here. And I think it's really important to bring those guys over, not only because they're talented players and have really high ceilings in a case for Chaz Coleman, but they've also been in this system before. They can help teach. They can help learn and critique along with the rest of the group as a unit as they continue to learn and grow as well. So I think it's really, really important. Garrett, in your eyes, adding these 4 Penn State transfers to this group, they're obviously talented, but in terms of teaching and helping these guys learn, how big is that?
Yeah, it's massive. I mean, obviously they've played in this system before. They're going to be able to teach some of the younger guys and guys that haven't been in the system the ins and outs. So I think a guy like Arion Carter that's coming back is obviously going to catch on quicker, just being a defensive captain that he's been, and that helps the linebacker room significantly because you have a lot of young names in that group like Perlotti that you would expect to have a breakout year this year. And before AC decided that he was going to come back, you maybe even thought he was going to have even more of a bigger role in that linebacker room. But we've talked about how deep that linebacker room is, especially with a little bit of coaching turnover on the on the defensive side of the ball. You're going to have player-led moments and player-led learning, and especially losing a coach like Coach Chop that was a player's coach that a lot of guys liked. Obviously, like you said, you had to get rid of the dirty water and have clean water and a clean system and restart because last year was not good. But just because last year was not good doesn't mean it's going to be easy to turn the page. There's a lot of things that you've done over the past couple of years that you're going to be doing completely different this year. But I think having pieces that have been there and done that with that system before is really helpful to the whole defense.
Big changes expected for the Tennessee defense under Jim Knowles, a highly credentialed, highly respected defensive coordinator. I deemed it a championship hire, a couple of championship hires that the Tennessee team has made this offseason. We'll see how it bodes heading into the offseason as practice has already begun. They've already begun training and getting in the weight facility with Derek Owings, who comes over from Indiana. What a week it's been for him. On top of the college football world, hop on a jet the next morning and get back to work. Just the reality of coaching in college football. Great stuff. When we come back, we'll take our eyes on the lines for this weekend's top sports events. Stay right here. It's the Playbook on Fan Run Radio.
You're listening to Fan Run Radio, the sports humans. Rickard Ridge Barbecue, located in beautiful Cove Lake State Park. Rickard Ridge is home of the best ribs in the Volunteer State. Smoked daily by pitmaster Mark Rickard. The barbecue at Rickard Ridge is mouth-watering, fall-off-the-bone delicious. Take the scenic drive up I-75 to exit 134. For directions and to look at the rest of the menu, visit Rickard Ridge online at rickardridgebbq.com.
Hey football fans, this is Stats.
And this is the Sheik, and together we are the Cover Boys, and we cover college football like no one else.
Each week we preview all the big games in college football, and we may not tell you who's going to win, but we'll tell you who's going to cover.
Our patented right sides are clicking at 66% against the spread all time.
So join us right here every Friday evening at 8 for the Cover Boys on the official voice of Tennessee fans, Fan Run Radio.
And enjoy the winners, everyone.
Hey Knoxville! Surfside iced tea and vodka made with real brewed tea is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar with no bubbles and no troubles. That's right, zero carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy. Headed to a game day or party at a friend's house? Bring an iced tea or lemonade variety pack from Surfside or try their green tea and new raspberry tea vodka. Find the can with the sunset stripes this season. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sold at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sunshine in a can. Must be 21 or older. Enjoy responsibly.
Men all around Knoxville are celebrating the difference Men's Pro has made in their life. I'm Evan Bass, founder of the clinic. If you're struggling with ED, we want you to be able to celebrate as well. As men, we hate going to the doctor, but Men's Pro was designed to take care of men like you better. These things can get worse if untreated, but you're not alone. The medical support team at Men's Pro has your back. Today's the day to feel alive again. ED, performance issues, enhancement. We've effectively helped men jumpstart their performance comprehensively and with proven medication dialed in just for you. With same-day booking, you can meet our passionate team, and under guidance from our medical provider, you could leave with a plan that changes your life. The number one thing we hear guys say is, I forgot how I used to feel. Guys, it's time to feel amazing and crush this new year. Call my team right now and let us treat you to an unforgettable experience. Dial 865-544-8220 or go to menspronknoxville.com.
For over 3 years, Crumble Cookies has served the Knoxville area. From Clinton Highway to Parkside Drive, even our friends out in Maryville have reached you, our fans, with the best cookies in the game. This fall, Crumble is gearing up for yet another fantastic season. Whether you're tailgating or looking for a pick-me-up after getting the kids from school, Crumble has you covered. Download the Crumble app to check out this week's rewards and features. And stop on by. Tell them Fan Run sent you, but don't miss the cookies.
All right, back here on the Playbook. We appreciate you hanging out with us on a Friday.
It's the best one from Brett.
Oh, thank you.
He played it like a couple of weeks ago.
It's my favorite one.
It kind of caught me off guard, but I like it. DJ Brett.
Appreciate it.
Y'all missed it during the Christmas season. He was really spinning.
I was here for the one. He let a little.
Yeah,
when we did our gift
I missed
exchange.
the Christmas music. That's always. I'm sure it brings.
You have free will. You can play it.
I can.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think, boss?
Free will.
Okay.
Free will. We got free will, and free will. Yeah.
Too many wills getting here.
Yeah. All right, we'll take our eyes on the lines as we've got a multitude of big matchups in sports this week. We'll begin with the one of more recent concern for the Volunteers as Tennessee travels to Coleman Coliseum to take on Alabama. The Tide, 3.5-point favorites at plus 100 odds. Believe you can get it at 4 at minus 110 if you wanted to go that route as well. But plus 100 odds for 3.5. Some books have Tennessee right at that 4 number. That's a notable line for this weekend. And again, come join us tomorrow at Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria for the game. Maybe use that VIP Play app. Place a bet on the Vols to maybe win. Maybe that's a plus number as an underdog, and come hang out with the Fan Run crew. NFL games this weekend as well. Denver, despite being at home, is a 4.5-point underdog to the New England Patriots in the AFC Championship. That one's on Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And then you got L.A. and Seattle. The Rams, 2.5-point dogs as the road team. Seattle, 2.5-point home favorite. So we'll talk the NFL slate in hour number 2. We'll go a little bit more in depth in those. But some notable lines for this weekend's action. Am I missing any big-time action? Am I missing any lines that I should report?
From the world of sports?
Just, college hoops, whatever it may be. I know next weekend we've got a hell of a matchup between BYU and Kansas, but that's not till next week.
In basketball?
Any big hoops games I should note?
Ohio State and Michigan play tonight if that interests anybody.
Yeah, but
Michigan's
a 15.5-point favorite.
That's a rivalry, though.
You got Illinois and Purdue Saturday at 3 o'clock. Boilermakers, 3.5-point favorites there.
Houston, Texas Tech.
Yeah, Texas Tech, Houston's the main
Illinois,
one. That's where
Purdue.
they're going for game day the first week. Houston's 2.5-point
Not
favorites.
much within the conference this weekend for SEC, it doesn't look like.
They're giving JT Toppin and the boys 2.5 at home.
Illinois and Purdue, you got Purdue 3.5, 4
Yeah.
versus 11. I guess those are the top 2 games.
What a disservice to my boy JT.
You want to give us
service? Just how good Houston is.
You want to give us West Virginia at number 1, Arizona?
We can do that as well.
Can we get that one, please?
Let's see. I don't scroll.
16.5.
Yeah, there it is. Ross Hodge has the boys rolling a little
there
bit.
There it is, yeah. There, yeah. See, this is a CBS game.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, prime time.
Brad Nessler, maybe.
Prime
Kentucky
time
plays
for the
11 a.m.
Mountaineers.
tomorrow.
Prime time for the Mountaineers. I like that.
Kentucky, 11 a.m. tomorrow. Early basketball.
Yeah.
They do those sometimes.
I think they moved it because of the storms.
Yeah.
The worst is like the 9 o'clock Eastern tip-offs that they've been doing this year.
Yeah.
The one like when we played Texas. Like why are we playing at 9 o'clock Eastern time?
College basketball scheduling is very, very interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like they should make it 2 hours and 30 minutes, like for the windows. But I mean, some games end quicker than others. But most of the time, like you're having to flip over to a
ESPN News.
Yeah,
Duke was playing at like 11 p.m. this past week.
The problem is you got so many games. So like
Stanford.
if you do the like 11 to 1 or whatever let's just say 12 from 12 to 2 in the morning in 2-hour
Yeah.
increments. Like, you can get a lot more games done that way.
Mhm.
I mean, I guess for ESPN it's good. They've got everyone using all the channels, but it is a pain in the ass for a common fan. All right,
agree.
when we come back, hour 2, the college football playoff will look differently next year. We'll tell you the changes that are being made for the new season and what is to expect in the future in terms of the format. And then we'll also cover the AFC and NFC championship games in the NFL as championship weekend is on the horizon. We'll break it down when we return right here on the Playbook on Fan Run Radio.
The flagship station for Tennessee football. Fans. Fan Run Radio.
Today, we raise a glass of Jameson Irish whiskey to the sport of football. Hear, hear!
To Gaelic football, born in Ireland in 1885 in its thrilling blend of soccer, rugby and basketball. On a massive field, 15 players kick or hand pass a round ball to score points over a bar or into a net. No pads, no helmet, no sense.
Hear, hear!
To college football, which kicked off in 1869 when Rutgers beat Princeton 6-4 in the Battle of New Jersey. With 11 players and helmets and pads, teams battle on a 100-yard gridiron with explosive pass plays and hard-hitting tackles. Unless you're called for targeting.
Hear, hear! Since 1780, Jameson Irish whiskey has been enjoyed by sports fans all around the globe. Whether your football is Gaelic, American, or even soccer, we can all agree on super smooth Jameson Irish whiskey. Hear, hear!
Attention service members and veterans. Introducing the Griffin Law Firm, your trusted ally in military legal matters. From court martials to benefit claims, at Griffin Law, your mission is their mission. Here's VFL Marshall Griffin.
As a veteran and retired military attorney, I've successfully defended lifelong benefits and helped preserve professional futures. So I know that when you hire a military justice lawyer, you maximize your chance to get relief. With my unique experience, I can advocate for you because there's no military matter that's too big or too small. Let us help you make these critical decisions that could affect the rest of your life. Remain silent. Request counsel. Call Griffin Law.
For a free consultation, call 888-707-4282. That's 888-707-4282. Or just visit griffinlawdefense.com.
At Knoxville Insurance Group, they understand the challenges many consumers face when searching for insurance coverage. That's why whether it's for you, your family, or your business, they create a coverage plan specifically for your unique needs. Knoxville Insurance Group is an independent firm, which means they aren't beholden to just one insurance company. They search multiple companies acting as your negotiator to find you the best possible policy and price. Start a quote in minutes at KnoxvilleInsuranceGroup.com or call them today at 865-694-9788.
Yee-haw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues, every bet type you can imagine, live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today. Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Make sure you use the promo code FANRUN to take advantage of their welcome bonus and so they know that we sent you. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-8899-789. Must be 21 or older and located in Tennessee to bet.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
Here we go. Hour number 2 on a Friday, live from the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios. It's the Playbook with Brett Hullander Garrett Armbrust, Alex Sarkis, and Will Palumbo. I'm William Pattison. We appreciate you hanging out with us on this Friday. Great stuff in hour number 1. We'll continue it here in hour number 2 as we talk the championship weekend in the NFL. The AFC and NFC have some great bouts. We'll break that down a little bit later on. We'll also tell you the new changes headed to the college football playoff criteria and format heading into next season, as that was officially ruled today, as the SEC and Big Ten have been back and forth trying to fix the amount of teams that make the field. But there are some changes coming despite their disagreements. So we'll talk about that to kick things off in hour 2, and then a little bit later on we'll wrap it up with our final thoughts. Before we get into the college football playoff, though, so this is Alex Schiffer from Front Office Sports come out with a report today that the judge who granted former G League player Charles Bediako immediately eligible for Alabama is listed as a 6-figure donor for the Crimson Tide, while his wife is representing Darius Miles, his former teammate, in a murder case. So a lot of tie-ins right there. I just subtweeted it and said nothing to see here. Let them. I like that term, by the way. Elaine Kiffin, let them. Let them. Let them's my new term. But kind of interesting. We'll say that. And the interesting thing about it is it's just these local courts that are now overruling the NCAA. We're seeing the same thing right now in college football with Trinidad Chambliss. NCAA says no. Chambliss says, well, I'll head to Lafayette County and we'll get a ruling there from an Ole Miss grad. Now in basketball, we see obviously Charles Bediako, we talked about in hour number 1. He gets ruled no from the NCAA, and they come out pretty definitively and said, we're not allowing former players of college basketball that have then signed NBA contracts to come back and play. And then Bediako's like, I'll take it to court. And the interesting thing, too, about Nate Oates and what he has said is that basically, like, he's being court ordered to play him on Saturday. Like, I don't have his direct quote pulled up, but he said, we're doing what we're being asked by the courts to do. And it's play the kid. So he is being court mandated to step on the court on Saturday. And we'll see what type of player he is at this point. But again, despite him not playing college basketball since 2023, and even those numbers then weren't strong, the guy's been in semi-professional basketball, professional basketball for multiple seasons now. So the guy has at least gotten somewhat better, somewhat stronger, has been in NBA facilities, has continued to only do basketball. It's not like he's worried about, class or, going out with the boys at Rounders in Tuscaloosa.
He's gotten worse.
Well, how he has gotten worse.
Because he's back at Alabama.
I know, but
he hadn't even played an actual NBA game in 3 years. You can't tell me he's got better at basketball. Bigger and stronger, yes.
I don't know how a guy from
and you look
3
it up,
years ago
Alpara is every bit as big as this guy.
I'm just saying he's a former.
The best players in college basketball right now are 17 years old, and they're playing against older guys.
Well, we'll see if that trend.
There are Euro guys playing in college basketball. They've been playing overseas.
Well, we'll see if on your first point, we'll see if that trend continues in March Madness. I don't believe that 17-year-olds or 18-year-olds or 19-year-olds win in March Madness. It's the Jack Golkes of the world who are working at State Farm.
They're not winning
3 months
championships,
later.
though.
Well, but they're winning games. I mean, hell, UConn, all those teams had veteran depth with, a couple of, 5-star.
Who was the best player in college basketball last year? It was Cooper Flagg by a long shot.
The G League is still like the second best league in.
Yeah, it's not better than EuroLeague.
But who was the guy that rivaled Flagg for the entirety of the season? Janai Broome.
Yeah, but Flagg went farther.
Well, Flagg obviously has a higher ceiling, but Janai Broome was dominant.
Duke's whole team was freshmen. Kneipel.
I'm sure if we took Kennedy Chandler back from the G League and put him on the court this weekend, Alabama would be a little bit concerned.
What is? There we go. Thank you, Garrett. If Kennedy Chandler came back this week, would he be better or worse than he was at Tennessee?
I'd hope better.
You'd assume he'd be better,
Kenny
right?
Jenner was a better college player than this Bediako could ever dream of.
I know, but just the principle, right, of a guy that hadn't played in years in college coming back after being in the G League. Would you assume?
I mean, we're getting, the best
better?
part is we're going to find out. You know, I mean, the guy's not going to have. It's not going to matter tomorrow.
Oh, this is great. According to the guy on John's show this morning, who claimed to be a G League expert,
I heard him. Yeah.
A G Leaguer is better than 90% of college kids. Again, not my quote. That's the Talk Sports crew. Miami Matty.
Yeah.
With some hot takes this morning. Buck also chimes in and says, let's get Joey Aguilar in a Knox County court. But he's in a court system as well.
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing the same thing, but just on a grander stage. They've got 25 players tied to this. So if Joey were to lose this, and I guess he really, really wanted to come back, you could take it to a Knoxville court. Like,
what are we doing, man? What are we doing?
At that point, yeah. At that point, it's like, gosh.
You got to graduate at some point.
Yeah, like you can't play college football forever.
Like, I want to watch Trinidad Chambliss play next year, but
In the motto, never graduate or something for somebody.
You've been in college football for 6 years, man. You would probably be the second or third quarterback off the board this year.
Well, who's the linebacker from Miami? He's getting like an 8
Muhammad Torrey.
Muhammad Torrey.
What's his story?
He started off at Rutgers in 2019.
2019.
Redshirted. He redshirted 2019. Hold on, there's more. So
Okay.
redshirted 2019, 2020 COVID year.
Okay.
2021 medical redshirt. 22 played. 23 medical redshirt.
How do you get 2 medicals?
Got some
I
good
thought-
doctors.
I graduated high school in 2022. He started playing college football in 2019, and we're going to graduate. I'm probably going to graduate before he will.
That's crazy.
He's going to play his 8th year of college football next year at Miami.
Man.
He tackled Justin Fields. If that puts it in any context into it.
That's crazy.
But again, even before we talk about the college football playoff, because this does have a lot of direct correlation to it, these guys continuing to play and play and play, at some point you've got to step down. And when we talked a little bit about it yesterday, what could the NCAA do, at least in college basketball? Because again, college football playoff is its own entity owned by the networks. They don't have the say in that, right? But the NCAA does have direct reflection on the tournament in basketball, and it's their committee. It's their rules. If you don't want this stuff to happen, just say you play a guy, that game's not going to count. Not going to count for either team, win or lose. I think that's the best way to do it. I mean, how many coaches are going to do that? Just win games for fun? No. So the NCAA is a faceless logo at this point that just has a lot of, little minions working in the office in New York or wherever it is. We don't know who they are. There's no governing body. And, they'll come out with statements every now and then. But it's like, who's running the show?
Their president's horrible. Charlie Baker.
Yeah.
He does absolutely nothing.
Charlie Baker, known loon, doesn't, do anything beneficial for the NCAA until he actually steps his foot down, like giving out quotes and being like, we do not allow eligibility for college players that have played in the NBA. That's fine. That's a good principle to have. Then let's enforce it a little bit more by not counting these games. If Charlie Baker came out right now and said, if you play a guy that has been court-issued into eligibility, those games will not count, I promise you we won't have this problem again. And that would probably end up going to court as well. But at some point, like if you're the NCAA, it's your league, you run all the things. Just say you're not going to be counted for those games if you play the kid for the NCAA tournament. And they don't have to legally, allow anyone into that thing. It's all, selective because there are a ton of bubble teams each year that probably meet the criteria or are right there with teams that get in that don't get in. Are they going to start suing and say we should be in the tournament?
Do you have problems with like the Euro guys coming over and playing college basketball when they're like, Illinois' got 4 guys that are 24 years old.
Here's the thing with the Euro guys. I think it's different because, a lot of them grow up in Europe. They want to go to college. They want to come here. Like that's, I think, different. Now I know
a lot of them have come over and they've been playing pro basketball.
Yeah. And I know like Tennessee has Ethan Berg, who, I'd love to see the league he was playing in. And I've seen some Alabama fans in the comments over the last couple of days be like, well, just put your professional player on Bediako. Well, timeout. Bediako played for Alabama in 23, left college, and that is right there at that point in time when you leave, you're done with eligibility, and you go sign contracts in the NBA, like you shouldn't be able to come back. Now, Ethan Berg has no aspirations to play in the NBA at this point in his career and is coming back to Tennessee to, try to get some sort of experience. I don't know what he's trying to do, but regardless, it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing because he hadn't signed an NBA contract. He's played professionally overseas, but, that's just a different world. This right here is a guy that played in the NBA, has signed NBA contracts, and is coming back to college. That's like if, Bijan Robinson was playing in the NFL and decided to come back to Texas this year because they didn't have a lot of running backs at one point.
Be incredible.
Like,
give me good basketball players coming back to college.
Or even,
don't give me Bediako.
for a more like realistic thing, we'll use like practice squads, like a practice squad player. I guess that's the only thing comparable to the G League. But if a practice squad player decided to come back and play,
I'd love for Tennessee to go pick somebody off the practice squad for quarterback next year.
Well, yeah, that'd be great. I mean, there are a lot of options out there.
Hooker, come on back.
Desmond DoorDash Ritter would look the way he does in NFL. He'd turn into Desmond Heisman Ritter if he came back and played in college. Like, it's just how it goes. So
that would be pretty incredible.
Yeah. But, I mean, again, I think that's the only thing comparable, though. Like, just having, a guy on a practice squad coming back and playing.
That's the great point. It's like a practice squad in the NFL. Yeah, let's go get a practice squad quarterback. Come play. Like, you're going to make more money.
Our linebackers out for the season. Who's the best practice squad linebacker?
Yeah, seriously. I mean, it's
Arian Carter.
I just can't believe we're having this conversation.
They're just worried about the wrong things. Like, what was it over the summer? It was like Wofford or Furman. Their coach got fired because they had players like off campus eating that was not on the meal plan. Yeah. They're like, nope, you're out. But this guy, 8th year eligibility, sure.
Let's do it. What was that Memphis quarterback 2 years ago? He was on the Jags practice squad this year.
Heineken?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seth Hennigan, whatever it is. Have him come back.
Yeah.
I know him because he was on the Jags practice squad this year. But
why wouldn't you just try it until they tell you no?
Yeah. And if they tell you no, hey,
we need you for 1 week.
Shout out to that guy. He played college football the right way. He played for 4 years, and when his 4th year was done, he played freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, senior year, and then he left.
Yeah. Now if you don't play,
just come. We need you to come beat Texas for
this
week.
Just
sign this.
We've loved the film we've seen in your
Judge.
practice squad tape. Come here, and if you don't get immediately eligible, we'll put
put you in Knoxville court.
Bob Heupel up on the court stand, and he'll allow you to play.
Go get Phillip Rivers to come play.
Yeah,
why not?
Might as well.
Go get Phillip Rivers. Seriously,
he's gonna be busy. He's gonna be coaching soon.
Yeah, wouldn't that be
if
crazy?
he gets that job, I'll be.
Yeah. All right, we'll switch over to the college football playoff as there are changes being made to the new format heading into the new season, as the college football playoff is expected to remain at 12 teams for the 2026 season after the Big Ten and SEC could not agree to an extension plan. Multiple people familiar with the decision told The Athletic, and college football playoff officials were preparing an announcement for later Friday, but now it has officially come out. They will stick with 12 teams. We'll quickly whip around here and ask if this is the right decision. In my opinion, I thought the 12-team format the last 2 seasons has been a huge success. This past year specifically, you've pumped out some of the best numbers in terms of visibility and your ratings that college football has seen. The championship between Indiana, little old Indiana, going up against Miami, a prestigious and historic program, did 30.1 million views. That's a top 5 championship watched all time. Like, that rivals, the USC Texas game, so many years ago. Like,
got classic blood in there.
Classic matchups. And Indiana, little old Indiana, who had never won anything up until last year, put up 30.1 million views against Miami. So that tells you where college football is going, folks. College football continues to grow, but that doesn't mean our format in the playoff needs to. Because I think you've already seen moments where the teams that make it are significantly flawed. Like in Oklahoma-Alabama was the flaw bowl. Like, both of them had significant flaws heading into the game. Oklahoma's offense hadn't hit stride since the middle of the season. Alabama's offense had been a a mess in the last month of the season, but you had really strong defenses. It was a hell of a game. But, like, those teams advancing any further were not going to be good matchups. Indiana disposed of Alabama. They would have done the same with Oklahoma. James Madison, Tulane, I know they were the group of 5, representatives. One of them got an automatic bid. Tulane got the highest because they were the highest ranked 4th team that won the conference championship. But even those games, you're like, this is a little bit unfair. Now, Tulane kind of held their own for a little bit. James Madison made it interesting in the second half, made it very interesting and significant to some late in the game. But both those games were blowouts. Betters. I know, yeah. So I think the end goal here for me is just give me the 12 best teams. Give me the 12 best teams at the end of the season. Not the most deserving, because that then makes this like a political thing. Like, who's the most deserving guy to take it? Like, just give me the 12 best teams. I firmly thought Notre Dame was a top 12 team at the end of the season. I thought they were better than Oklahoma. I thought they were better than Alabama. But we instead have to give the most deserving teams. At the time, I believe they were better.
You think Vanderbilt was I think Vanderbilt was one of the 12 best.
Vanderbilt's interesting because I think, that they had the resume for it, but I would have had Texas over them. And Texas won head-to-head, and I think Texas got really belted by that Ohio State game. If they were 10-2 and played, an FCS team in that week instead, they would have made it.
Yeah.
So
over a lot of teams.
And I thought Texas played much better football in the last half of the season. And that's what I wish the committee would take into consideration. What is this team now? I know all the games are important and should be carried with the same amount of weight, but a team that is, undefeated and the number 1 team in the first week of the season, that's all based off of early season projections. It's not based off of what we've actually seen. And Notre Dame obviously lost the 2 games to begin the year, but they punished everyone else and racked up, 2 ranked wins. Only 1 team remained ranked in USC. But again, I just thought that this was a year where we kind of let the most deserving teams in. I want the 12 best, but you still can get that in a 12-team format. Going to 16 teams, I don't see the perks because like last year you had 9-3 Ole Miss, 9-3 South Carolina, 9-3 Alabama. All of those teams had significant flaws. Like South Carolina got belted by Ole Miss 27-3 in their own building. Ole Miss lost to Kentucky at home and Florida on the road. Like those teams didn't deserve it. So I think if you want to expand, there should be a certain criteria that has to be hit in order to go to a 16 format. But I think 12 is just fine for right now. Right decision to stick with 12, Garrett?
Yeah, I like 12. There's going to be bubble teams, whether you have 12 teams or you have 50 teams. There's always going to be that first team out that says they want to be in. Regardless of everything, there's probably any given year really only about 4 or 5 teams that can win the whole thing anyways. So I think 12's good. It gives you the on-site games at the beginning. Y'all know how I feel about the G5, so it gives the G5 a spot, which I think is good. I still believe that if you play FBS football, you should have a path to the college football playoff. So it gives the top, G5 team a spot if they're deserving of it. The only thing I don't like about the current construction of the playoff is the way these New Year's Six bowls go, and it's just the way it's going to be. But I don't like how you can win the Rose Bowl and then say you could lose the Sugar Bowl and your season's over. Like, I feel like winning the Rose Bowl should mean something. But if you win the Rose Bowl and then lose the next college football playoff game, like, the winning of the Rose Bowl didn't mean anything. I don't know. That's just the only thing I would fix. I don't like how that is. Historically, I just don't think that makes sense to college football.
Okay, interesting. Alex, 12 teams good for you?
I think the number's fine, but I really don't like the group of 5 in. I don't think this year especially they were not. That's not the 12 best teams. I think it was the most deserving. I think Vandy and I think BYU is another team that could have been in. That's just – those are 2 teams I think. Notre Dame, another one. You got to get those guys in. And that's why I think if you go to 16, then you can keep the group of 5 in. But if you're going to do 12, the fact that we had 2 group of 5 schools in this playoff.
Well, the only reason why you had 2, though, was because
Duke.
It was because of Duke, and then that got JMU in. And you can't Duke lost to Tulane who was in the playoffs.
Well, according to this, Duke would have been in.
Yeah,
which would have been disgusting to see a 7-5 team. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, and on that topic, you mentioned that is one of the big new changes for this group. So they're sticking with 12. 16 and 24 will be weighed over the next offseason. But
24.
24 is too much.
Gracious.
24 is way too much. I'd agree.
That's like expanding the
Quick.
basketball tournament to like 100 teams.
Yeah.
Quit college football. The regular season would just be a wash.
Yeah. Well, for the first 2 years of the 12-team college football playoff format, 5 spots were reserved for the selection committee's highest-ranked conference champions, regardless of the league. That setup led to 2 Group of 5 teams, Tulane from the American and James Madison from the Sun Belt, making the college football playoff this past season when Duke won the ACC after losing 5 regular season games. Starting next year, that can't happen. The Power 4 conference champions gain automatic entry into the field. So that's the Big Ten, the SEC, the Big 12, and the ACC. The winner of that league will automatically be put in, with just 1 spot available for the next highest ranked league winner. So that is the bona fide G5 spot, non-negotiable. Doesn't matter if there's multiple teams that were ranked, just 1 spot. Do you guys like this change, being to just now the 4 Power 4 teams get an automatic bid and then 1 Group of 5 team? I think in a year like this, it would have been chaotic. Why the hell is Duke in the college football playoff after they lost multiple games this season? I call them one of the most stupidest teams I've ever watched. Just a dumb team.
But that's on the ACC, isn't it?
And that's on the ACC.
That's not on the playoff. That's on the ACC.
I agree. But it was stupid for a team to have that opportunity.
Too.
Yeah. Stupid for a team to have that opportunity when the ACC clearly has their own flaws. Not every team's going to play the same amount of league games this year.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for that to fall in the ACC's face next year because I know it's going to happen.
Still messed up next year.
I know it's going to happen. I know, but that's what I'm saying. It's going to happen again next year.
It with the number of teams.
So it's going to fall on their face once again, and I cannot wait for that to happen. My issue with the 12-team format is the automatic conference championships or conference champion winners. Like, I think the top 4 Power 4 conferences all getting an automatic entry is an issue because you have a year like this where a Duke isn't that great. I just want the 12 best teams at the end of the day, and I want 1 Group of 5 spot. If you're a conference champion, you probably should be in the top 12 if you're a significant
you get
team.
in anyway.
Yeah.
You would hope.
So just give me the 11 best teams in the 1 Group of 5, and I think we're good. Give me I don't want, because I feel like this year you had a lot of, this team deserves to be in there. I don't want the most deserving. I want the best. Like, if we're being real, did Alabama really have the late season momentum and resume to make the field? Probably not. They embarrassed against Florida State, a team that was under 500 this year, and they played the worst football of their season in November. Like, I would have put in a team like Notre Dame that was better at that point in the year because you want the 12 best teams. So I think the automatic bids keep the conference championships alive and with importance. But I think if you just consider that a part of the criteria that's weighted very high, then you'll still have a lot of buy-in for those games. So I just don't like the automatic bids for winning a conference championship because I think it could axe some people out and also force people in that don't really deserve to be in that spot. Garrett, would you agree with that or would you disagree?
No, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, if you're a Power 4 team and you win your conference, you're most likely getting in. I mean, there's going to be situations this year like Duke with the tiebreaker in the ACC, and they went 7-5 because they lost 3 non-conference games. But I mean, obviously in the Big Ten and the SEC, if you win the conference championship, you're a top 12 team. Most likely in the Big 12, you're going 11-1 or 10-2. If you win your conference, you're in. And then the ACC 9 times out of 10, same thing. They just had the off season this year where they had the weirdness, but with the way that their schedules are going to be over the next couple of years, that could continue to happen for that conference. So, I don't know. I think the way they're doing it right now, they're trying to make conference championships mean something because we're getting very close to a point where they really don't mean anything. And I think that would be a shame in college football if conference championships didn't mean anything. So, any way that you can keep those games alive and meaningful, I think is good.
And I would agree with that because one of my favorite weekends of the year, every year, is going to Atlanta for the SEC championship. And even I did an interview, or was interviewed by a SEC official, not like official, but like a guy that was on the concourse. And they're like, "Are you a season ticket holder?" Obviously, I was wearing Tennessee stuff, one fitting in with the current crowd of the game. And he was like, "Do you mind doing a quick interview of why you like coming to these games?" And I was like, "Because it's a big weekend. Because it's the best conference, the best teams, and a great venue in Atlanta. Like, I love SEC championship weekend. I love conference championship weekend. And I don't want that to deteriorate and go away because it's not of importance anymore. But I do think if you just put that in the criteria of, the college football playoff, what it's considered in your bid, then I think you'll still have the buy-in. But I just don't love having the automatic bids.
How do you determine the best team? Like, if they have similar records, things like that. Like,
Well,
are you still keeping head-to-head?
Well, so let's say
you said obviously Notre Dame was playing better than Miami to end the season. Is that just the determining factor? I mean, I don't know.
Well,
there are a bunch of teams at 10-2. The same as Oklahoma, who's not a conference champion. Like, I thought BYU deserved the shot over them, having lost twice to Texas Tech.
Oklahoma, though, ran the table better than almost anyone in the country coming down. I mean, they beat us, on the road. I mean, they beat Alabama on the road. They beat us
they
on the
struggled
road.
against LSU. They struggled against Missouri.
Well, yeah, but I mean, over the last month.
Are we talking eye test as the best team, or are we talking about looking at the schedule, 11-1?
I mean, I think at the end of the day, winning the games means more than how you won the games. I mean, I think if you go 11-1 and you have 11 ugly wins, that's better than going 10-2 and having pristine. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think wins have to mean more. That was why all fall when we were here, I said I thought Miami should be in over Notre Dame because they beat them. I don't care if it was week 1; they beat them.
Right.
The
schedule's got to matter.
Well, my thing with the wins, though, that then takes away any initiative to go schedule tough games. Like, if at the end of the day you could schedule, 11 or all your out of conference games are bad teams, right?
Yeah.
And you play in the Big Ten where you kind of get the benefit of the doubt and only have to play like one of Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, and one of USC, Oregon, or Washington. Like, you're going to be 10-2 at the end of the year because you play Tarleton State and Sam Houston State and Oregon State in your out of conference schedule. Like, look at Texas Tech's schedule for next year.
It's gross.
Abilene Christian, Sam Houston State, and Oregon State. They're 3 out of conference games. And they don't have to play BYU or Utah in their conference. So it's like, yes, we should give credit to wins. And obviously that's going to be big once you get into the situation room. But, like, I feel like wins are sometimes overinflated to where a team makes it, but they haven't really beaten anyone. And I'm not saying that this Texas Tech team this past year was that case, because I thought they, handled BYU in both matchups, and those were 2 really impressive wins. Their win at Utah was really impressive with a backup quarterback. But I think wins and just the visual look of the wins, I think, is sometimes taken over account.
Scheduling that game, though, could also give you something that you wouldn't have. Like, if say Texas Tech goes 11 or they would have gone 11-1, but they have a slip up and go 10-2. But then if they would have played that, a game, a non-conference game, and won that game to get them to 10-2, that could be a defining factor of, well, they went 10-2, but they beat a really good team, opposed to they went 11-1 but didn't beat anybody. Like, I feel like even if you have one more loss, but you beat a better team, like, that gives you a room to slip up.
But I think the prime example is Texas this year.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Now, Texas had a bad loss to Florida, and that obviously handicapped their ability to make it. But if they scheduled Abilene Christian week 1, they're in the field.
Well, the other thing they got to fix is, why did BYU get punished for their Big 12 championship? If they're 11-1, they're in there. They didn't punish Bama. They didn't move them, and they have 3 losses.
BYU is a little.
But still, that's an example. Like, what do you do for a conference championship game that we're talking about that you say that some people say doesn't matter, but it did matter in that situation? They were in the playoff before that game, and then they knocked them out. So,
but they got handled in the same fashion they did in the first game.
But why are you punishing them for making their conference championship?
Yeah, there's other teams sitting on the couch. They
can't how good they are at football or how bad they are at football.
Because, I mean, Alabama
they won
got
all their
dominated
games
too.
except lost to a top 5 team on the road and then a Big 12 championship
I made
game.
the argument that if we're going to discredit BYU, we should do the same with Alabama, who didn't cross the 50 but twice in the game.
Agreed, but what do you do in those situations?
Put Notre Dame in.
Just okay. Well, Notre Dame, you can talk to them. This is some BS. What they're doing to them.
Yeah, we're up against the break.
Yeah,
but we'll touch on that Notre Dame wrinkle effect.
It's a huge wrinkle. It's a joke, is what it is.
Okay. Yeah,
and then they take USC off their schedule.
We'll talk about it when we return. Stay right here. It's the Playbook on Fan Run Radio.
For the fans, by the fans. This is Fan Run Radio. Knoxville.
Hey Vols fans, Cody Brown here. I grew up right here in Tennessee and know what it means when someone says, I've got your back. That's why you can trust Farm Bureau Insurance of Tennessee. Whether it's your home, your vehicle, your family's future, or the business you built from the ground up, we will show up for all of your insurance needs. We are Tennesseans who understand what matters, which is doing right by you. Insurance is not all about just paperwork and policies, but it's about the people we insure every day. So if you want insurance that hits home, give me a call at 865-992-3871. Go Vols.
Hi, this is Bo Kregner from the Kregner Group at Realty Executives, and I know there's a lot of choices here in East Tennessee when it comes to choosing a realtor. Here's why the Kregner Group is different. At the Kregner Group, our motto is walking by faith, serving others. It's how I live my life. It's how I run my business. Here at the Kregner Group, we're committed to doing real estate the right way. Faith, honesty, integrity. The Kregner Group. Call me anytime at 865-742-1035 or visit my website at boknowshouses.com.
This football season, crack open a cold beer that doesn't fumble the flavor. Garage Beer is 100% beer-flavored beer. No gimmicks, just cold beer. Co-owned by the Kelsey brothers and brewed right here in the Volunteer State, Garage Beer is perfect for fall fire pits and Tennessee tailgates. So pick up a 12-pack today of the official beer of Football Fridays on Fan Run Radio. Garage Beer, 100% beer-flavored beer.
Vol fans, reimagine your home at Broadway Carpets and Flooring for any remodeling or building needs. With a variety of carpets, rugs, hardwood, vinyl, and stone, Broadway has all the flooring and installation options you're looking for, including pet-resistant products like Pet Perfect Carpet from Shaw Floors. Visit their showroom in downtown Knoxville or the location in West Knoxville located on Kingston Pike near Pellissippi Parkway today.
Welcome to Axle Logistics, where excellence isn't just a goal, it's an energy. As a leading third-party logistics company, Axle is powered by an award-winning culture built on a work hard, play hard mentality. Here, the drive for success is contagious and hard work never goes unnoticed. Whether you're just starting out or looking to level up, Axle Logistics is the place to launch your career. Join us and take your ambition to the stars. To learn more, visit axlelogistics.com.
All right, back here on the Playbook on this fine Friday. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Coming up in 27 minutes, it's The Drive with Russell Smith, Bob Baskerville, The Bear, and Walker Smith. They're remote today at what is it? Oh, man, I forgot.
Casual Pint.
Casual Pint,
in Lenore City.
Yeah, Lenore City. Brand new opening.
Today, I think.
Yeah, grand opening today. The Drive is there. Wishing them the best. Always a good time going out to watch them live. Casual Pint, grand opening at Lenore City. Thank you for helping me with that, Brett.
LC.
Yeah. All right, kind of continuing that conversation we had about the college football playoff real quick. Notre Dame, a big wrinkle in this as well. There will still be 7 at-large spots available, but independent Notre Dame will also have a guaranteed spot in the field if it is ranked in the committee's final top 12. Now, in 2025, Notre Dame was ranked 11th by the committee, but ended up being the first team left out of the CFP because the lower-ranked G5 teams were guaranteed spots as conference champs. Should Notre Dame get priority despite not being in a conference? Now, this is interesting, and it's an argument that I see both sides on. Because on one side, Notre Dame is one of the most historic programs in college football history. They have a ton of eyeballs. They have the deal with NBC. I understand why they don't want to join a conference and have to share their money. I've often made the comparison. Let's say you've got $100 and it's yours. Why would you go give it out to 17 other people? You know, it's your money. You know, you picked up a $100 bill off the ground. Why would you go share it with 17 others? And I understand Notre Dame for not wanting to get another conference. A lot of people just look at it on the surface and say, Notre Dame, just join. Well, they got a TV deal, and that's a big part of this stuff. So I see that side of things. But on the other side, I have to also be fair with a lot of my similar arguments that I have for other schools and other teams, and that, you know, I don't think anyone should be given priority or the deserving bid to make the field. And I think this would be a deserving spot for a team like this. I thought Notre Dame should have made it this past season, but there could very well be a year next year where Notre Dame's kind of on that fringe level and they just throw them in there at 12 and they automatically make the field. And then that would, in a sense, be another automatic bid. And that would then take away an opportunity for another team that might be around the bubble. And this year it would have been more practical with the Texases and Vanderbilts and BYUs of the world. But in other years, it might not make a difference. So it's tough to judge these rules because you never know what season you're going to have. Again, as I mentioned in the previous segment, last season, before this past year, last season, the bubble teams were 3-loss teams that all had, really bad losses on their resume, and they were all trying to fight in there and sneak their way in. This past year, you had probably 3 or 4 or 5 teams that had, legitimate arguments to make it. But you don't know how next year's going to roll.
Well, you got to think it's going to be, with the SEC being harder, there's going to be some questions.
Yeah. And that's why I don't like it
for,
be
as easy.
Conversation for another day. That's why I don't like it for the SEC. But I see both sides for Notre Dame here. But ultimately, I don't believe any team should get priority, so I'm not going to have the same for Notre Dame. Alex, should Notre Dame get priority into the college football playoff?
No way. And you saw all the chaos they caused after they missed the playoff by not going to a bowl game. They got in a scramble with the ACC. I mean, it's just, it's a mess.
I want to play Haynes King.
Yeah, it's a mess. And I don't think you can't let a team like that have priority and especially in 2026 college football with a playoff that I believe is already flawed. I mean, I think doing that obviously just makes it now more of an issue. And I think what the committee does is they constrain themselves by having these automatic spots. I think, like you said, we touched on the 4 conference champions getting in. If you win your conference, you should be in anyway. So now that we're adding another spot for a team, it just causes more constraint.
Yeah.
Notre Dame, work your way in. You're not more special than anyone else. I mean, yes, you are not in a conference. You have a TV deal, but it doesn't matter. It's on the field. It's how you win the games. Win the games to get in. It's unacceptable, in my opinion. It's just stupid.
Brett, would you echo that?
Absolutely, yeah. It's they're almost saying Notre Dame's bigger than the sport including them in this top 12. And then they go and immediately before all this, they drop their biggest rival off their schedule. So automatically their schedule gets a little easier. You mentioned the eyeballs. The eyeballs are as high as they've ever been this past playoff season. You already mentioned what the championship did. So I don't think they're going to have any issues as far as eyeballs go, as long as you get the 12 best teams in there. I kind of agree that Notre Dame might have been one of the top 12 teams, but this is just unfair, to college football, I believe.
Yeah, good points all the way around. Obviously, just the look of it is not great.
That's number one.
Just the look is not great. But again, Notre Dame, as an independent with a big deal, you got to look at it from their perspective as well. They've got to find a way in and find a way to have some representation. And I know the easy thing, once again, folks, I understand. Notre Dame just joined a conference.
Where did you have them in your rankings for next year? Top 10, right? So
I had them top 10. I think I had them at number 4.
Yeah, they're going to be good. They get those Ohio State wide receivers.
Yeah. C.J. Carr's back. C.J. Carr's a future first-round pick. They'll have to figure out running back. They lose both Price and Love. But Leonard Moore, defensive back.
Because they didn't do much in the transfer portal, right?
They picked up early on. They're
Miles
kind of like
Graham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, if they just joined the ACC, they would win it almost every season.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Win the games. Like the TV deal.
They're almost in the ACC with their schedule.
They play a primarily ACC schedule. They play in the ACC in basketball, baseball, all their other sports. I mean, it just seems like they should join it. They're not the premier team in their state right now anymore. The premier team in their state is not in South Bend anymore. It's in Bloomington.
But here's what won't work is them trying to bring their NBC deal over to the ACC. That's just not going to work.
Well, I mean, maybe at some point you just have to cut that out because I feel like they're screwing themselves over not being in a conference. As much as you wouldn't want to be in one,
they're not anymore.
They don't have to worry about that.
But is the ACC? The ACC is probably the least profitable out of the 4 conferences.
But if you can easily win it, why go to the Big? I mean, if you go to the Big Ten, there's going to be 4 or 5 teams that are right there with you. If you go to the ACC and Clemson and Miami have down years, I mean, you should be able to run the table.
Yeah.
What I would love to know, because Miami got $20 million from the ACC for making the national championship, I wonder what the deal would have looked like for Notre Dame had they have made it. I know
that's not the guaranteed money for.
And I know
how much did Indiana get?
Well, I know that so the thing is, that college football playoff money comes straight from the ESPN and ABC. They have exclusive rights to it. But I wonder how much of that
they
is
have to have a deal with that.
Divvied out. So, because I'd be interested if there's a bonus for making the playoff.
Because wasn't their playoff game last year? Was that on?
It was
Peacock?
it was on ESPN. All the games for the
I
playoff were on
thought
ESPN.
that when they played Indiana,
Did they play
at home.
every single game on was that Georgia game that they played 8-9 years ago on NBC? Did they play every single game on NBC?
They don't play every single game. Pitt and Notre Dame was on ABC this year, but they do have priority at the beginning of the season to pick and choose. They had the USC game this year. They had the Texas A&M game.
Because I think most of them are. Every game that I remember that they played was on there.
Yeah, I like their crew too. Ian Eagle's a young star. I like him a lot. And Blackledge, they got Blackledge on there too, former ESPN and CBS broadcaster. Good stuff. All right, when we come back, we'll wrap things up, talk the championship weekend in the NFL, the AFC and NFC championships with one spot apiece on the line for the Super Bowl. We'll break it down when we return right here on the Playbook.
For the fans, by the fans, this is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Barley's has live music on weekends, general team trivia on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m., and now live sports trivia courtesy of the Knoxville Trivia Guys every Thursday night upstairs. The game starts at 7 p.m. and is free to play for everyone, so head on down to the Old City and show off your sports knowledge and win gift cards to Barley's. Use those gift cards to buy some delicious food and drinks, and you can take it all in with their wide selection of TVs and indoor projectors. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
We really need to get some branded stuff. Shirts, hats, promo items, something professional.
I mean, we could just find a website and order a bunch of it ourselves.
You could, but you're taking a big risk. You don't know the quality, the fit, the timeline. It's a roll of the dice.
Yeah, I guess, but isn't that how everyone does it now?
Not the ones who actually care about how their brand looks. Look, if we're putting our name on it, it needs to be done right. We need SM Athletics.
SM Athletics?
Yeah, they specialize in working with businesses like ours. Apparel, hats, promo gear, but real, customized stuff. They actually care if it turns out right.
Probably a lot better than getting stuck with 100 t-shirts with crooked logos.
Exactly. Plus, they'll walk you through everything. Sizing, colors, material, so it matches the image we're trying to build.
Makes sense. What's the name again?
SM Athletics. Trust me, if you want to look like a real company, not a flea market stand, this is the move. If you're serious about your brand, work with people who are serious about getting it right. SM Athletics.
All right, back here on the Playbook, winding out the Friday, last day of the week. Got some good hoops on, some good ball this weekend. A little bit of breaking news here, folks. The NCAA cabinet has officially approved jersey advertisement patches on Division I uniforms. So expect Tennessee to have one pretty soon. Danny White's chomping at the bit to put Pilot.
Let's get Yeehaw Brewing on.
Yeah,
there.
we talked
We
about
talked
that.
about. We had a conversation
Talked
about this.
that back in November.
What were some of the other ones we thought of? There were some good ones.
Please don't put Food City on your football jerseys.
Petros, Weigel's, Pilot. There were some funnier ones.
There were some good ones. We had some good ones.
Yeah.
Cool Beans. Put the Danny District on there.
Yeah, we'll get Half Barrel on
Cool
there.
Beans, Half Barrel, yeah.
Buc-ee's.
Yeah, Buc-ee's was one.
Well, Buc-ee's is more Texas, but
yeah. What is
Pilot's
it? The
going on.
library,
Pilot's
Yacht
gonna be
Club.
right here.
Tennessee football presented by Yacht Club.
Just have the Power T or in a Pilot.
Yeah, or just replace the Power T to start putting logos on the helmet. The Power Pilot instead of the Power T.
Yeah, can the band make a P rather than the T that you run out of?
They said a big GIF of mayo. That's what J.R. Lowe says. Jar of mayo. Or is he calling Josh Heupel? I don't know. I don't know. Too many mean people online about Josh Heupel, by the way. I'm not going to make those type of jokes. But, all right. Championship weekend, AFC and NFC. We'll start with the AFC as the Broncos are 4.5-point underdogs up against the Patriots inside their own stadium. Very tough place to win as an opponent inside Mile High Stadium. I think the Broncos are a little bit undervalued here. I don't think Bo Nix is the world beater that the books are acting like. Jarrett Stidham might not be the best option and is obviously not a starter for a reason. But the reason why this Broncos team is here is because of the defense. And obviously Bo Nix makes a bunch of big plays, but he also has his moments where it's like, he's a little bit kind of what we thought he was at some points in college. I think if Denver keeps this game close, that defense is strong enough in the fourth quarter to hold their own and force Drake May into turnovers. And I think Sean Payton has the opportunity to kind of remind folks, yeah, I'm that guy. And Mike Vrabel's done an incredible job. And this is a Patriots offense that has exceeded expectations. Stephon Diggs, what a season he's had. Travion Henderson, I loved him at back out of Ohio State. May had some turnover issues last week. And I think that could be a big point of emphasis here for the Broncos. Turn the guy over, hit the guy, make life difficult for a second-year player in the AFC Championship game. So even despite the 4.5, I like the Broncos to win this outright. I think it's the right side.
Wow.
I think it's just too difficult to go on the road in Denver and beat a defense like this.
Jags did it.
I know they did. But Trevor's not playing in this, obviously. The difference, or I think this is not the difference. I think this is a very similar situation to the Broncos in 2016. Obviously, they had Peyton Manning, a veteran quarterback, but that team wasn't great offensively. It was because of that defense. It kind of reminds me a little bit of this unit. Sean Payton, an opportunity to remind folks. I like Denver. And then between the Seahawks and Rams, I go Rams here pretty comfortably as well. Give me both the underdogs. Seattle has had an incredible season. McDonald's done an incredible job. But I remember Sam Darnold last year up against this Rams defense in the postseason with a lot of the same characters on this Rams defensive line, getting in the backfield and making plays and making life difficult. I don't believe Sam Darnold is a good enough quarterback to win in an evenly matched game to play for a Super Bowl. I've yet to see it. I don't believe it. I'll take Matthew Stafford and the more well-oiled offense that's a little bit healthier than the Seahawks are coming into this. I like the Broncos. I like the Rams. And we've got our Super Bowl matchup right next to the electric units in San Francisco.
You just don't want to see the Pats either, right?
Well, what do you mean the Pats?
Well, people don't like the Patriots, right?
I don't have
like the team.
I don't have anything against any of these teams playing.
Okay.
Now, if Buffalo were still playing, I would love the other side. But I don't like any. I don't have any ill will towards any of these teams remaining. Garrett, your two predictions for the games.
Yeah, I like the Patriots. I mean, obviously with Nick's out, that becomes a factor. The Broncos' pass rush has been very good this season. I think Henderson's going to have to do a lot more than he has the past two games. He's been held under control pretty good in the postseason so far. See what he can do. See if he can pop off a couple big runs. I think that would be really beneficial in that game. And then, obviously, Rams-Seahawks, two really good teams clashing at it there. Obviously, every team remaining is very good. But that just seems like the winner of that game, in my opinion, is going to win the Super Bowl. And I'm going to go Rams in that one as well. Veteran team, veteran quarterback. I think they win a close one.
All right, Brett, your two picks.
Yeah, I got the Pats as well. I do think it's been close. Sean Payton does have a track record with backup quarterbacks, and unlike Stefanski, he probably practices Jared Stidham a little bit.
There you go.
So you gotta like that, and they got a good run game. R.J. Harvey, I think J.K. Dobbins is back, so I think it'll be competitive. But Pats have been playing well all season. I think they're not going to be worried about who's quarterback or not. I think Drake May's going to go out there and make enough plays. And then the other one, Rams. I like the Rams. Puka, Devontae Adams. So I got Rams and Pats in the Super Bowl.
Okay,
that's a rematch of a few years ago.
Yep.
Yeah, it would be. And that was a banger of a game.
That was a good game.
Yeah.
I've got New England going in to win, but my thing for Denver is, can Jared Stidham play much worse than C.J. Stroud did this past week? I don't think Jared Stidham's going to play that bad, turning the ball over like that. So I think that's a big thing you can look into. But I think New England's the better team. I think they've got obviously an MVP caliber guy at quarterback, and their receivers have really been coming on. Even Kayshon Boutte made a great play this past week, and he's really had a good year. So I think Drake May's got weapons. and they're the better team. Their defense has really stepped up
Yeah.
this postseason. I'm going to go Seahawks.
Okay.
I think that Seahawks defense, and we saw special teams have a big impact against the Niners, even though the scoreboard didn't reflect it at the end. That opening kickoff, that was pedal to the metal from Rashid Shaheed right out of the gate. So I think special teams could be a factor because it's going to be a good game. These are two, I think the Rams have obviously the better quarterback, but Sam Darnold is a guy that is accurate. He's got good weapons, and special teams, weird stuff happens in the playoff games. And I feel like the NFC Championship especially, remember that one in Seattle a few years ago, those games get crazy. So I think Rashid Shaheed, keep an eye on that guy.
All right, I'm going to hit Will on the spot here. Will, if you can get on the mic real quick, I'm going to hit you with your predictions for this weekend. He seems to be a ball knower in the lobby in our conversation so far. When he texted me asking about the job, he included that he really liked the Jags season. He liked what the Jags were doing.
He knew how to get the job.
Exactly. Exactly. He knew what he was doing.
Now he's going to be honest with us.
Yeah, so be
I'll
honest
be scared
now.
of that guy.
AFC Championship, NFC Championship. Will, what are you seeing?
Yeah, I got the Patriots. I think that O-line definitely has to perform better than they did last week, but the way their defense has looked the past 2 weeks, I think it's going to get the job done. I trust Drake May, then I trust a lot more than I trust Jarrett Stidham. And I got the Rams as well. I think Sam Darnold doesn't have it in him to win that game, and I just trust Matthew Stafford. Like I just said, Drake May over Jarrett Stidham. And really, I would pick the Rams over the Patriots in the end, even though there's a little bias in that, but those are my picks.
Okay, there we go.
Came on the mic strong.
Yeah.
I'm lone wolfing the Seahawks.
Yeah. And they're
I feel good
too.
about that, man. I love that defense. What do they call it? The dark side. That's their nickname.
Yeah.
I would like them to win the Super Bowl.
I would
personally.
too. I would too.
I want to see the Rams win again. Rams are flashy. They're fun. Seahawks,
I don't want to see LA win another sports title. Like they've won,
Yeah,
they're ruining professional baseball. Like basketball, they've got plenty. Like let's just stay away from LA teams.
I like Sean
championships.
McVay a lot, though.
I do like him too. Yeah,
I like McVay. I like Stafford. Also, you got some VFLs playing. Yeah, got some VFLs on the sideline. I don't know if you guys haven't realized yet. I kind of like big names, big brands, big storylines. And I like covering the little guy as well. That's a big reason I'm a Jags fan. The guy that doesn't get enough credit, and now they finally did. But I do like to see like the kind of some of the flashy teams win. I like the Rams. I always have supported LeBron. I like the Lakers. Not a Lakers fan, but I like watching them when the Grizzlies are done. So we'll see. But good projections all the way around. AFC and NFC championship games both on Sunday. Get things kicked off with the AFC championship at 3, and then the NFC championship is to follow. Everyone is making their trek towards San Francisco for this year's Super Bowl. That one will be in a couple of weeks on NBC. I will say I like the new scoreboard for NBC.
Me too.
Are you guys pretty particular with the score bugs?
Very.
I could care less.
Okay. Doesn't care.
I like NBC basically kept it the same, but they added like the wings on the edge.
They kind of went back to a little bit of their older style.
It's good.
Because they debuted the one that they've had for the last 3 seasons during the Super Bowl between the Rams and Bengals. I wasn't always a huge fan of that. I do like the new one.
Another thing I'll say, Mike Tirico's done a beautiful job this postseason. Oh, he is awesome.
He's a pro.
Him and Collinsworth are awesome together. The NFL's in a great spot broadcasting-wise.
Tirico is one of the most prepared broadcasters I've ever listened to. There was a moment, and I know the Olympics are coming up, right?
Yeah.
And NBC will have that coverage as well. But 2 years ago, during the Summer Olympics, the audio went out during one of the basketball games. And Mike Tirico was in the studio and just filled in and did play-by-play for like 2 minutes and did it beautifully. Like just the level of preparation for a guy that was in the studio, knowing where everyone was on the court, knowing the names of everyone for France.
Yeah.
Or whatever it was. I mean, I don't think it was France. I think it was like South Sudan or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, there's so-and-so from, played at Kentucky for a little bit, whatever it may be. Like, that guy's prepared.
Yeah.
And I always really appreciate that. Tirico's a stud. All right, that's going to wrap it up for a Friday edition of The Playbook. We appreciate you hanging out with us right here on Fan Run Radio. Folks, a reminder, once again, join us at Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria tomorrow night for the official Fan Run Radio watch party of Tennessee and Alabama. We'll see you there. In the meantime, for Brett Hullander, Garrett Armbrust, Alex Sarkis, and Will Palumbo, I'm William Pattison. We appreciate you hanging out with us. We'll see you on Monday.